chance to make it 28-3. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25. Toss to White. He's in! What a comeback!
All right, welcome back to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. Very special episode.
Very special.
So you guys will remember back in December when Corey was on his honeymoon, Nick and I did the Chris Olave game show episode. So we're going to go ahead and bring it back with Corey here and do the Derek Carr game show. Whew. So basically what we're going to do is Nick's going to go through the starting quarterbacks in the NFL as they stand after a week and a half of free agency. And what we'll do is we'll all weigh in if we would pick Carr over that quarterback.
Okay.
We're not going to factor in contract. We all know Carr, as we've covered before, is paid in the middle of the road as far as quarterbacks are concerned. And I think this exercise will go ahead and prove that Carr is a middle of the road QB and not the worst QB in the league, as a lot of Saints fans would have you believe.
Plays like it at times, but yeah, obviously. So because I'm new to this, so like you said, with this exercise, it's we're not factoring in contract, where he was drafted.
None of that. This is strictly
eye test, better player, not better player.
Right.
And which also means you throw out upside. This is what the player is today. This
2024 season.
2024 season. So it's there'll be some people like Anthony Richardson or something like that. You comparing it to 2024.
It's like if your team had backyard football rules and you got your whole team picked and every QB
there it is
available.
It is. Perfect.
You get to pick one of these guys to go behind center.
To win today.
Carr or one of the other guys.
Exactly. So we're the team pretend like we're the team captains in a backyard football game, all 32 starting quarterback. Now, we are going to exclude the rookies, Caleb Williams.
To a certain extent, I think the only two we can definitively throw out are the top two picks that we are assuming those two teams will take it, right?
I think the top three, you're pretty much locked in. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels in some order.
So you think it's 1, 2, 3 for sure?
Yeah.
And we're just going to assume that?
I would assume that.
Let's do it for this exercise.
Let's include them. Like if they're in the backyard with everybody else, let's include them for those teams. Because look, Tyson or Tyler or whatever the hell his name is, Bagent for the Bears.
Yeah. Well, for purposes of this exercise, it doesn't matter what team they play for. Technically, it's just
correct. But just for comparison's sake,
they're in the league.
The Commanders starter as of right now is Marcus Mariota. The Bears starter is Tyson Bagent.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
Exactly. And the Patriots starter is Jacoby Brissett. Right. So let's go ahead and include those three in this. Let's do it.
Yeah, we can give like 2 no's for them. Why not?
Yeah, I love the way you framed it, though.
Backyard football.
If all 32 of the presumed starters...
They're sitting there in front of you.
And are sitting there in front of us, pick them in the order.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Nick to be the ringmaster of this.
Okay, I think it's probably best format to start in the NFC and then see where he ranks in the NFC first, and then add in the rest of the AFC. The AFC is obviously well weighted in the positive versus the NFC as far as quarterback goes. They're loaded. The NFC, lucky for us, is not.
Right.
So we'll start in the East and go through those teams. Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott is first.
I would take Dak over Carr.
Yes.
I would take too.
So yes means you would take the guy. No is
okay.
Piece less.
I would too. I think worth noting, probably had a better team than for the entirety of his career. Has had a competitive team. Hadn't done much, but I still think he's probably a better player.
It's kind of close for me actually.
His
but
stats are way better. His stats are way
go,
better, but he hasn't done anything. Let's be honest.
Neither of them have won anything, but I'm taking Dak over Carr.
What's Dak got? One playoff win?
Does he have one?
I think he got one. Didn't they win that wild card?
I don't know.
That's a good question, but also not a huge gap is what I'm saying.
Not
with
a
Dak.
huge gap.
Similar. He's had a perfect situation his whole career. Same coach, almost the whole career, and hasn't produced anything with a talented group of people.
Right.
Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts.
Man, this is close, and I think Jalen Hurts on the Eagles is in a perfect ideal situation. I don't think he has half of the success on another team. I'm taking Jalen for the leadership, just because I love him as a person and in the locker room, and he's wired right. but it's closer than people would think. I know most people would say, "Oh, it's Hurts slam dunk." I'm not as high on Hurts.
It's not for me. It's not a slam dunk for me. I'm still going to take him.
Yeah, it's close.
But I feel like I'm gambling a little. It was last year was one of those years where that team was year before last. Sorry, they were just a runaway train. It seemed like everything was falling their way. You know, and he played amazing, but he's made it to a Super Bowl. I'm gonna have to give him the nod.
You have to, but it's close.
But it's very close. I would not feel great about having Jalen the next 5 years as an Eagles fan. I'd be like a little skeptical right now. I'd be a little worried. But that's just contract stuff. I mean, they paid him like a top 5 guy, and that would worry me. But I would have to put him ahead of Carr right now.
I might be more of a Jalen fan than y'all. I think Dak is closer to me, but I go with Jalen. And by the way, Dak won a playoff game.
Right?
Against the Bucks, 2022.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has one.
The last Dallas Cowboys playoff win before that was 2018 wild card round, which was played January 2019. I think was that. Dak?
That was him. That was him after he took over for Romo.
Anyway,
right?
so
maybe he has two. Maybe he has two. But
so far,
with his roster, he has underachieved big time with that roster.
Yeah.
They've given him everything, and he had offensive line, skill players. He's had everything, and he has.
It's a perfect system.
Those two are close. I think we're gonna have some easier ones coming down the pipe here.
My reasoning on Hurts real quick. He played awful the last half of last year. It was beyond. It was not good quarterback play. New York Giants.
I'm taking Carr over whoever the hell.
I'll take Carr.
Yeah.
As am I. So
Daniel Jones is an abomination.
Yeah.
The Cutlets is their only QB right now.
No, Daniel Jones is still there. He hasn't been cut.
They said
they were talking about possibly, but he is still.
He's still there.
He is still there.
Well,
Commanders.
I'm taking whoever the rookie is over Carr.
Okay.
I would.
I don't care who it is. Out of the three. Right now it's Marcus Mariota. Obviously, no one's taking
I don't know that I would take
Carr.
Drake May over Carr, to be honest. I'm more of a believer in.
We're talking 2024, Max. We're not talking.
I know we're talking 24. I'm taking any of them over Carr.
I probably would not take Drake May over him for 2024. I would if I had to choose one of the two for my franchise.
I would definitely take.
I would take Daniels.
I'm a big Drake May guy, so I'm taking May.
I'm not.
That's fine. Do you like the ACC?
I do.
I'm not a Drake May guy. It's not that he won't be successful. I just don't think he's coming out of the gates looking great.
Yeah, ask me the question in a couple of years, maybe different. But
it's close. It's very close, but I'm taking May.
All right, let's say Drake May is the Commanders guy.
Okay, I'm gonna say no. Then if we're putting May with the Commanders, I'm gonna say no.
All right.
If we're saying it's
then
May,
I'm gonna say no
sure.
too. Yep.
Okay. Jared Goff, Detroit Lions.
Okay, so this one's a very interesting one because to me, Jared Goff is basically Derek Carr on a good team, a really good team. So they're very similar in that I don't think either one of them's winning anything for you directly because of them, but they can elevate. I mean, they can elevate their performance on a really good team if they have a strong supporting cast and a good coach. But this is a coin flip. God, look. Goff's been to a Super Bowl, almost made it to a second one. Jesus. I'll take Goff. It's close. That one's razor thin, the difference.
I'm taking him too just for what you said, and it's the same theory as Hurts for me. You made it to a Super Bowl. You know, obviously he didn't deserve that Super Bowl. We should have been there, but he made it. Then he made it to an NFC Championship with a different team.
That's why I'm putting him ahead, because he did it.
I have to put it because he did it.
Yeah.
These are not dissimilar players. These are
they're very similar.
And where I'm putting some of these guys so far, I have three people ahead of Derek, Dak, Hurts, and Goff. All three of those have been in colossally better situations than Derek Carr has been his whole career, and the performance is very similar for all three. But if you do it, you have to give them credit for doing it. And Goff has done it.
Yeah,
Hurts has been to a Super Bowl. They get a nod ahead of them for me.
I go with Goff.
You're going with Carr?
Goff.
Oh, Goff. Okay.
Jordan Love should be pretty easy one there.
Yep.
Had a better season than Carr's had all but 1 year of his career and is 25 years old. So I think you've got to think that could hopefully get better.
Yeah.
Minnesota Vikings.
This one's tough because right now it's Sam Darnold.
No, give me
So
Carr.
give me
over
Carr all day. Yeah.
You can't.
That
I
one's
mean,
e-
you
that
can
one's
say
easy.
maybe they get McCarthy, but you don't even know if that's
Even
possible.
if they get McCarthy,
Yeah.
I'm taking
Right.
Carr because
Yeah.
McCarthy didn't do anything in year one.
Bears, if you're calling this Caleb,
Caleb.
I'd probably take Caleb too, and I don't even like Caleb, but
Yeah.
okay. Baker Mayfield, the Max Special.
Baker. This is going to kill Corey because time out. Corey hates Carr and he hates Baker.
don't hate Carr.
You hate Carr, dude. You've been drinking all the Kool-Aid from the Saints Twitter world.
I'll give you a
No,
minute.
I've been very objective about Carr.
I don't know about that.
I haven't been hating on him just to hate on him like a lot of Saints players been doing. I really haven't. When he's played well, I've talked with y'all about how well he's played. This is what this is about. This is about me hating Baker. That's what this is.
You
about.
hate both of them. It's just a matter of who do you hate more.
Baker by a
Okay,
mile.
well.
I mean, so
But try to be objective here.
if I'm being objective,
2 playoff wins to 0.
no, I know, Max. You're just
On 2 different
you're
teams.
Just twisting the knife now. Baker.
I love it.
I'm not taking Baker. No way. So I'll take Carr over Baker.
Ugh.
That
If it wasn't for last year,
Yep.
but he did have those 2 interceptions against us in Tampa, which were
Yeah, whatever.
and he lost the playoff game.
Yeah.
And he didn't play
But he-
very good in the first playoff game. But
Hey, they won. So let's move
they
on to the
did.
next one.
They had a worse offense than us in yards and points last year, also.
God, that one hurts.
With much better skill players. Atlanta Falcons for next year.
Cousins.
Yeah, give me Cousins over Carr.
I'm taking Cousins too, but again, this is a guy who's
It's
never
close.
done anything.
Yeah.
He's
a loser. No, he's a loser,
He's
just
a
like
loser.
Carr. They're both
And,
losers.
No body of evidence to show he's going to take you through multiple rounds of the playoffs.
And again,
This-
the one difference I keep bringing up is Cousins has had some rosters to work with, and he hadn't done anything. Hadn't done a thing. I think Carr's career could look way different in their situations, is what I'm saying. I think a similar player. I'm taking Cousins.
If they're in my backyard, I'm picking Cousins ahead of Carr.
yeah.
Brock Purdy.
Purdy.
Got to go with Purdy.
I mean, you just have to.
I would too. And again, you don't know, but he's been to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Matt Stafford has won a Super Bowl.
Stafford's an easy one.
Yeah, that's a Hall of Famer, so he's in.
Give me my dog.
Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith.
This one's close.
It's not for me. I'll take Carr on this one.
Corey, you go first on this one. I got to think.
I go with Carr on this one. I just think Geno
I gotta
definitely
go Carr.
Geno definitely flashed. I feel like Carr's more of a sure bet. Not saying he is in general, but
It took him 10 years to flash. For me, that's probably an anomaly. Last year was worse than the year before.
No,
His good year.
Yeah, Carr. And they brought in Sam Howell this year to compete with Geno. And so,
Geno-
yeah. Give me Carr.
I'm a big fan of Geno's story and what he's doing, and I hope he continues to succeed. I really do.
Yeah,
I think he's good
Carr.
for the league, but
Carr's a
in
better
this
player.
situation,
There's no doubt
give me,
about
it. No doubt.
give me Carr.
Kyler Murray's the last one.
Kyler.
Yeah, give me Kyler.
It's killing Nick to do this, but we'll see.
Yeah, Kyler is a fucking loser too. I mean, what's the best record he's put up with that team?
That year they started out great.
Yeah.
And then lost 6 in a row
Yeah.
and lost first round of the playoffs.
I'm still taking him, though. He's dangerous.
4-13 last year. He's more fun to watch, no doubt. But
He's a better player. He's a better player.
The common denominator for me is who gives you the better chance to win. Who has
Yeah.
more? If it's pick a guy to play, get under
I'll
center.
bet on Kyler before I bet on
like,
Carr.
hey,
Would
you
you?
go get under center now, and they're both standing there. I
Yeah.
go Kyler.
This one's a tougher one. Y'all seem to have an easy one with this one. What's Kyler's career record?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You gonna ask him all these questions on the football on the backyard?
92
Yeah,
career.
exactly. This is just
You're taking an open book exam over here.
I am. I'm trying to look up what he. I mean,
it shouldn't matter. Look at 2024.
Look, the stats can say whatever you want the stats to say.
Exactly.
I'm just wondering if he's better than I think he is because I don't think he's good.
But I mean,
So I'm trying to make a case for him.
if you
right
see the
now.
right number, is the number actually going to make him better?
If I'm wrong
Yeah.
about his record, if I'm wrong about his record, it would change my mind. I feel like they've been perennial losers, is what I'm saying. So if he, I don't know, that's a toss up too. At best, it's
Just
a
make
tie.
a decision.
You want to go
I'll
with
put
Carr?
Kyler, but
Okay.
I don't feel good about that. He's not a good player.
Dyler.
Kyler. He's fun to watch. He runs around and he's tiny, so I'm all for the tiny guys. But he's not a good player. Not at $230 million, especially. But
Contracts aren't in play here. This is just head to head. Who would you pick?
He's a much better tiny meme than a player. It's established.
Josh Allen's obvious.
That's
now
obvious.
That we're moving to the AFC, so
Yeah.
that's the NFC. Josh Allen's obvious.
Yeah.
Yep.
No explanation needed.
Tua. That's a good one.
Tua.
Yeah, give me Tua.
Also 0 playoff wins.
Don't care.
Monster roster.
If it's
I hate Tua as a player. I like him as a person, though.
Well, look, that comes into play because, like, who's going to be better chemistry-wise on your team?
Yeah, Tua just seems so soft and like. Not,
Yeah, but look, that's the reason we had to take. I had to take Hurts is because I know he's better in the locker room. He ain't divisive from that
if he's
perspective.
standing there next to Carr and it's who do I want lining up
Tua.
right now?
Tua.
Give me Tua.
I'm gonna go against that. I'm gonna take Carr actually.
Wow.
I just don't think he can win. I don't think Tua has any chance. Jets, Rodgers. We're assuming Rodgers is healthy.
Give me the VP all day.
I'll take Rodgers.
Yeah, I'll take the
Obviously,
VP.
even at 40.
Although I think Kennedy went with somebody else, but
Patriots.
that's going to be.
Calling that
We're going to call that Jaden.
Yeah.
By process of elimination.
Give me Jaden.
Give me Jaden.
So I took Caleb. Yeah, I'm taking Caleb and Jaden. I'm not taking May.
Yeah, I'm
So,
with you on that.
I agree.
Max can't part from his ACC quarterbacks.
He's awesome, dude.
Obviously, we're taking Lamar.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about our good buddy Deshaun?
Give me Carr.
Today, right now, Carr.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to.
This has nothing to do with the off
Yeah,
the
that's what
field
I'm saying.
shit.
If
Deshaun has not been good.
no, I mean like
2
We're
years
talking
in a
about the
row.
eye test. He has not been good.
If
2
it's-
years in a row, very bad.
if it's Texans Deshaun, then sure. But
Pre-massage. Texans
today,
Deshaun.
yeah,
Russell Wilson.
give me Carr.
Carr.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Carr too
Yeah.
now. I can't believe I'm saying that either.
2 years ago, my God, we would have been laughed out of the. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Burrow's obvious. Stroud's, I think, obvious across the board, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
This is a good one, and I don't think most people would think this is a good one. Trevor Lawrence has not played top 10 quarterback.
I think
He
people
hasn't.
have an idea of the people that don't watch the Jaguars, and I don't watch the Jaguars, but I think like the casual fan has an idea of who Trevor Lawrence is. A lot of it being based on Clemson and the pre-draft hype, but yeah,
It's very close.
I mean he was hard to watch against us, but
It's very close. I'll take Lawrence, though. It is close.
I can tell you last year there is no question Derek Carr played better than Trevor Lawrence. That you can't even make the argument. But do you think that's an anomaly for Lawrence? I don't know.
I'm taking Lawrence. If they're standing side by side in the backyard, I'm looking at those pretty blonde locks, and I'm taking them.
well, if you put it that way,
I'm not. I'm gonna stay with Carr barely on that one. Like I've gone against Carr on every
I'm not reacting to you.
tiebreaker so far,
I'm
and
having a hard time deciding.
It's tough. It's closer than most people would believe.
I would go with Lawrence.
Yeah.
I mean,
all I can think is if Carr threw 14 interceptions last year, how ballistic you two would have been going.
well, everybody.
Yeah, I just. And that's another great roster.
Turnover.
That's a loaded. That was a loaded roster. This
Turnover
year.
prone.
They missed the playoffs.
Carr
too.
wasn't playing with scraps, though.
No, but he wasn't playing with those guys, and you know it.
Well, that's a whole different.
That's
Hey,
now two $90 million receivers on that
look,
roster last
Okay,
year.
don't
Evan
let's
Ingram.
not pretend like Christian Kirk is worth
Listen.
$90 million.
That's a different. This sounds like the beginnings of another game show episode.
It does.
Of,
He's had a better season than any of our receivers other than Mike Thomas.
better
Going
supporting.
back to the original parameters,
better
if,
supporting cast.
if they're in the backyard, I'm taking
Yeah.
Lawrence.
I'm taking Carr.
The next game show will be better supporting.
Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Richardson, presumably.
Cast. I'm gonna go with Carr.
I'm going Carr.
I'm not. I talked too much shit about Richardson before the draft last year. And he only played, 4 games? Tennessee Titans.
Levis,
Yeah.
give me Carr.
I'm going to take Carr there, too.
Yeah, same.
Obviously, Mahomes is a no. Raiders.
Raiders.
Is that currently O'Connell or whatever? I don't even know.
Oh God, Carr.
They're probably gonna draft somebody, but Carr.
They're not really in They're gonna have to trade up to get somebody.
Yeah,
so you
they're in
can't
the
write
middle
it
of the
in.
pack.
They're in Penix territory.
Gardner Minshew. It's
They
Minshew
signed-
and yeah,
it's
they signed
Minshew
Minshew.
Minshew and O'Connell.
They're
I'm taking Carr.
I am too. I don't think that one's really debatable.
Yeah.
Broncos, you have to take Carr.
Yeah, it's Carr versus
What's that guy? The young guy.
no, not even young anymore. Stidham.
Stidham,
I
Jared
guess he's-
Stidham.
He's like almost 30 at this point.
Is he really? Wow.
He's been in the league a bit.
And then obviously Herbert is a no-brainer.
No brainer, yeah.
I marked a couple that I thought were close. I think Watson, and I had two of them out. But
Is that everybody? No, you haven't said.
that's everybody. Who haven't we said?
Yeah, I guess it is.
AFC. We didn't go with Mahomes.
We just did
Was
it.
it?
We
did
did.
Mahomes.
We
Oh,
just
that,
did.
oh, that was
I don't think we
tailed
had to
off
even
with.
bring that one up. That's pretty much a.
So
I wanted to debate that one, Max.
I'm sure you did. Was that going to be your hot take of the offseason?
I will not be making that hot of a take anytime soon.
Yeah, there were some close ones, man.
Yeah,
Real close ones.
There's some on. There's definitely some choices on there that are those types where it's like, ask me in a week.
I'm telling you right now, the listeners are going to roast us for even debating the Hurts car.
Hurt. They're gonna roast it. They'll roast me for Tua. They'll roast us for Hurts. They'll roast us for
y'all bring on the roasting. Go
probably
light the charcoal.
Did y'all take Richardson or no?
No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I took car.
Okay. Just making sure I had that right.
But if I think about it more,
There's people that might roast us for even having this
Well, look,
discussion.
I think
I just worry about Richardson staying healthy.
I worry about him being able to consistently be
Not
out.
enough there to know.
There's just not enough there, yeah.
So I have him as the 18th. Corey has him as the 20th. Max has him as the 22nd.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. This is kind of like when we went through the Saints record. We all came out
Now-
with like 14 and something.
Real quick to that content, I think y'all put all of these. No, not all. We both had Russ and Watson worse. I think some people would maybe debate those. We all had Dak, Hurts, Goff, Cousins. I marked Kyler on this list. I don't see a huge... And Lawrence would be on this list. I feel like that's the group he's in. Is that
Yeah, and that measures up with what I would say. He's in that tier. I don't know what tier
So
is that. The
let's
third
take
tier?
them out. Can we all agree? If all three of us agree that he's in this group, maybe below, but like in this group, Dak.
Wait, you're saying he's in the group with Dak?
Yeah,
I
Or
don't.
you say
I
no?
think the general public is going to say absolutely not.
I think that's what they would say too. What do you think? But
I think, yeah, I think they're in a. They should be in a tier, but I don't think perception wise, the public is not at all going to have, any agreement with us saying that they're in the same tier.
Yeah, but there's the Saints public, and then there's like the national, and then there's this whole other sect of like Raiders public who were sad to see him go and want him back, which is interesting. I mean,
Dude, I kind of feel like he's a tier below Dak.
well, let's just do this. Let's try. Let's put it together, and then we can weed them out if we want. If we take out who I think are debatable in that, if we're calling the top five the elite, if there is even five of those, then there's like the awesome, right? Like the really good. Like in there, maybe you have, if you have Jordan Love, you feel freaking really good. Like I know I've got a top 12 guy, right?
who did we pick him over unanimously? Who were those guys?
Unanimously?
Like who are lower? Who's lower than him?
Unanimously?
Yeah, and we can eliminate those guys.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Max took Drake May.
Okay, so two out. Well, let's go 2 out of 3 then.
Vikings.
Yeah.
Geno.
Yeah.
Watson. Russ. Richardson. Levis. Gardner Minshew. Stidham.
See, let me say
All
this.
official.
I feel like if you got on Saints
He's
Twitter,
not in that group.
If you,
He's not in that group.
Yeah.
You can't make a case for, in my opinion, any of those.
I'm gonna tell you right now, most of Saints Twitter would go ahead and tell you Russ Wilson's better than Carr.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen those tweets, even when Russ signed with the
But they have
Steelers.
no evidence to
No,
support that.
it's an emotional response to it, just because they hate him. But
Now-
most people would say that.
If we did factor in contract, I would agree 100%. If you give me Wilson for the minimum versus Carr's 35.
Yeah, but that's not the
That's not.
reasoning that people would
No, I
take
know.
him.
I
Yeah.
know. You're going strictly on past success on Russ. It's 2 years in a row of much lower play for him. 3, actually, if you count the Seattle year.
The back half of the Seattle year, yeah.
So we're unanimous, and other than Russ, we're saying this is unanimous. That takes out the bottom 10. So we're down to 22 left. We're saying he's no doubt outside of the bottom 10.
Yeah. Which coincides with Max's 22nd.
Right. He's
Like
saying
the
everyone
floor,
else is better. That's
the
where he's
bottom-
putting him, right above the bottom tier, or the bottom 10.
Yeah.
Here's let's go the no doubters real quick. And
Okay.
I don't think anyone can argue with this. We obviously know it's Josh Allen.
Mahomes.
It's Lamar. It's Mahomes.
Herbert.
It's Herbert. It's Burrow. Anyone else you would put in that group? Do you still put Rodgers there?
No, he's in the next tier.
Yeah.
That's it. That's your 5, right?
Yeah.
So they're in a class of their own.
Yeah, but the next tier has Stroud, who's absolutely
Right.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be in this tier either. But the next tier is for sure Stroud. I think Love, 25 years old. You can't put Dak there. You can't put Hurts there anymore. You can't put Goff there. You can't put Baker there. You can't put Cousins there. Purdy? You probably can't. Stafford,
Supporting cast, I'm not
I
putting
think
him.
you can
I think put
still.
Stafford, yeah.
Tua, some people will, and I understand it. Some people will put him. I'll put him on that list. Rodgers, he's probably in that tier now.
Yeah, for sure.
At that time of his career. We already have Lamar in the top tier. We have Burrow, Stroud, Mahomes. Okay, so that's your next 5. And I think after that,
It's
I
wide
think you're
open.
looking at a drop-off. So
Yeah.
this 11 to what we're calling 22, they're all in here in some. And if it went any way next year, I could see any of them being 11. I could see any of them being 22 next
There's
year.
much more wiggle room, room for
There's a big
upward
variance
and
there,
downward
yeah.
mobility in that third 11 through 22. Because
So Carr's anywhere from 11 to 20.
the top 5, any one of those
Right.
top 5, if you said so and so won the MVP next year, you'd be like, makes sense.
If you're a Carr hater, you're going to say the first
22.
half of the season he was a bottom 10 quarterback. There's a case to be made there.
Yeah.
If you're a Carr proponent, you're going to say the last 6 games he was the highest rated quarterback in the league. Okay. There's just such a variance for him last
If
year.
Carr jumped from this third tier we've established, not bottom 10, not second 5, but if Carr were to jump from his current 10, not bottom 10, into that second 5, I'd be like, that makes sense. If Carr's performance were to jump into that top 5 tier, I'd be
That'll
shocked.
never happen. That'll never happen.
Not happening. So it's like these guys in 11 through 22 tier have the ability to go into any neighboring tier, I think.
Right. Dak has done it in his
They
career.
could play bad enough to go bottom dweller. They could be good enough to go in the next tier up, but they're never going to be good enough to be that
Right.
top 5 elite.
And I think the point is this whole tier of Dak, Hurts, Goff, we put Caleb in there, rookie, Cousins, Purdy, Kyler, Jaden is in there, and that's the group, and Carr. That group could move all over the place next year.
Yeah, Carr could be his ceiling. What's his ceiling then?
11, right.
So what do we think? What's our punchline here? What do we think?
I'm gonna
Is
say he's probably on any list, even his biggest fan, his top end right now is probably 15, 16. His low end is where Max has him at 21. He's in that 15 to 21.
22.
22. 22. You had him at 21. He's in that group going into the season. I think he could be in that 11 to 15 next year. That's possible. Because I don't think that group ahead of him has separated themselves from him.
Agreed.
There's similar accomplishments, whatever. Some have made a Super Bowl, but have had terrible seasons. Russ is a legacy guy. Somebody like, 10 years ago, Russ was amazing. The last 3 years, he has not been that guy.
Shit. 3 years ago, he was amazing.
The year before the melt, he started that season
On
crazy.
fire, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we all 18, 20, 22, I think most fans of the Saints would probably put them somewhere in our grouping there. And they can make fun of the individual picks however they want, and it's fair. Everyone's going to like some people more. So we have them 18 to 22. I think that's accurate.
It goes to show that you can't, even as bad as when Carr looks bad, he looks really bad. Like,
Yeah,
it
but
is
when he
look-
looks good, he looks really good.
But I think, this
He looks like a top 10 guy.
This
when he's good.
exercise shows that you can't, as much as you want to hate on him. And look, I get a lot of the reasons why he is disliked in terms of his demeanor, what he said in press conferences. Seems like he thinks we're stupid, that we're believing that he didn't see what Bates in Atlanta is, that kind of bullshit. But as much as you want to hate on him, like, you just can't put him in the bottom 10.
Right.
There's no case for bottom 10.
Yeah, and I think this kind of shows that, because it's like, all right, you want to call him bottom 10, then objectively say he's worse than, and then list 22 through 32.
Right. I think both of y'all were on probably the more negative side of him most of the season. You both gave him props at the end of the season, but at your baseline, y'all were probably on the negative side of it, and you still had him outside of the bottom 10.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's the quarterback that we paid for, and I think there is upside to get to that 11 to 15 potentially, but you have to have everything else perfect if he's going to do that, and we didn't have that last year.
To me, his ceiling is basically what Jared Goff did this past year, where they got to the
Correct.
NFC Championship game, because he was surrounded by a great supporting
If he's
cast.
protected, if his
'Cause you
guys
know
are making
who-
contested catches, if you're running the ball.
Right.
You know who looks bad, real bad when he looks bad? Jared Goff. When
Yeah.
he's bad, it
Yeah.
looks real bad.
I mean, shit, different tier, but even Tua looked really bad last year.
Tua at the end of the season, Tua's why they failed. He's why they failed.
Last year, not this past, the year before last, you'd have put Hurts in that top 5 tier.
I'd have put him in the second 5.
You would have, but a lot of people would have put him in top 5
Yeah.
tier. And you saw what he did this year. He looked pretty terrible at times.
Last half of the season, one of the worst quarterbacks in the
So,
league.
I'd say it was a good, successful Derek Carr game show.
Yeah, and to tie it up, I think this proves that if we get Derek Carr at his absolute ceiling, it is something that could get the Saints to an NFC Championship game. I don't know if you're winning a Super Bowl with him, but I could see the team getting to, especially with how weak the NFC is.
Yeah.
If you catch him where he goes on a run and this offense, catches fire like we hope it does, it's very feasible that they win a playoff game or two.
Yep, I agree.
The way he played the last 5 games of the season, especially, even the Rams loss, he was putting the ball in people's hands and they weren't catching it. And his numbers still weren't terrible that game, except for one bad pick.
Well,
he was like playing at an extremely high level the last 5 weeks of the year. Now, you got to do that for a season. It doesn't matter if you do it for 5 weeks.
Y'all know one of my favorite words, consistency. If he stays consistent, it's doable.
Yep.
So-
So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this episode up. Thanks again for listening to the 28-3 podcast. Who dat?
Who dat?